Good morning. Good morning. I had to make a back entrance that I need to start to see me. Yeah, but good morning, everyone. It's really good to have you. You're looking very radiant this morning. And as you see, I'm hungry to my because we are almost starting. We'll be starting in the next 5 minutes. But before we do, I would like to know who is in the room. I know each one of you has had an opportunity to interact with your neighbor, and you get to know them. It's an everyday. That's the case, right? So maybe let me just go random. That you might do it.
Julius Kayunga.
Your neighbor. There, you see, you see, that is why having this session. Thank you so much. Yeah, that's why I see having this next session of introduction is very important, and then you get to know who is in the room. My name is Gabriel Chai, and I'm really honored to be here this morning. I started so I'd like to know who is in the room, where you come from, and what's good about from your end. Thank you.
My name is Nehemuka Emmanuel from Landmark Advocates.
I think you all see Emmanuel. Yes. Thank you.
My name is Amani Shandeji from Rwanda Bar Association.
Thank you so much.
My name is Amani Shandeji. Coming from Rwanda Bar Association, Lake Service Law Firm.
So pleasure to host.
Morning. My name is Kanimba Nadia Bed from Ministry of Justice. Thank you. My name is Kaites Petronil. I'm from the Ministry of Justice.
So it appears this step on the I think we shall
Good morning, everyone. I'm Benon Tashovia from Celta Foundation, also a member of Rwanda Bar Association.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Pascal Noyes, and I'm from San Ramon.
My name is Fiat Kiwahiro from the Ministry of Justice.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Frank Damas Mtagom. I am with the Ministry of Justice.
So what is interesting about Frank here is that Frank appeared comes to participate. I think that's our house. Thank you, Frank.
Morning. My name is Eme Barushimana. I'm a lawyer, member of the Rwanda Bar Association. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Fasoni Blondin from Rwanda Bar Association.
My name is Chondo Ernest from Rwanda Forensic Institute.
Good morning. My name is Israel Razirikan. I'm coming from Mirix Chambers. I'm an advocate at Rwanda Bar Association.
Julius Kayunga, good morning, from the Rwanda Bar Association.
Good morning. My name is Julie Mulisa. I'm coming from Rwanda Revenue Authority.
Morning. I'm Richard Gahigana from Rwanda Forensic Institute.
Morning. I'm Bosco Vyagatonda from Rwanda Forensic Institute.
Morning, everyone. My name is John Bosco Safar.
I'm a member of Rwanda Bar Association and I work for Settle Chambers.
Thank you so much. The corner, if you can look at the corner, there was the lady in the corner was giving anything. But now we don't need to fix it.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Ngaram Teneza. My name is Brenda Ishimni. I'm from ELS. I am a communications officer, and it's a pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for making the time.
Thank you, Brenda. And for that, Brenda, make that sense. So when I'm over the mic, I'm going to request Brenda to tap in also yeah. But it's good to know everybody in the room, and it's very good that we've got time and we are here. So I have another question. So what do you do if something really good happens to you? What do you do? Can I have some volunteer? What do you do if something good happens to you? So you get excited. Another volunteer. You smile. Good to smile. At least it's beautiful and represent. What do you do? You dance. Oh, so she said give thanks to God and attention. What do you do if something really good happens? This one. Yeah. But you become excited. So all those things is what we are feeling this morning. We are excited. We are thankful to God, and we are happy that we are here this morning at the Islamic Law Society. And on behalf of the Secretariat and the organizing team, we'd like to extend our warm welcome to each and every one of you. Thank you for making it this morning. Thank you for taking time of your very busy schedule. I know you're extremely busy people, but thank you for taking time to come and learn this emerging area of practice on digital forensics and electronic evidence handling. As introduced earlier, for those who are in the room, my name is Gabriel Achai, and I'll be hosting the session alongside my colleague Brenna, and we are here in case you need any sort of assistance. And our expert trainer is also in the room. But without further ado, it's already 21 minutes past the hour of 9. Allow me to invite our CEO and team leader to come and make his opening remarks, to officially welcome us, and also officiate over the opening ceremony. Mr. CEO, over to you.
Thank you very much, Gabriel. Let's clap for Gabriel. Thank you so much. Before I say anything, let me welcome our hosts for this training, the Secretary General of the East African Law Society, Ms. Gloria Kabasinga, to the podium, and virtually the President of the Rwanda Bar Association to officially open the session for us. We will start with the national anthem of Rwanda and then the East African Community Anthem. Gabriel, if they're ready. I will ask everyone to stand when we start playing. Thank you. Thank you very much. I have learned one thing that we need to learn our EAC anthem. Maybe I will introduce this as a curriculum or as a course in the next segment. The Secretary General of the East Africa Law Society, Ms. Florida Kabasinga, the Batonin of the Rwanda Bar Association, Mr. Moise Ndarabashi, representatives from the Ministry of Justice and the Attorney General Chambers, representatives from the judiciary, representatives from our various law firms in Kigali, corporate representatives in the room. Good morning. I bring you greetings from Arusha, from the Secretariat of the East Africa Law Society. Do you receive them? Habari za asubuhi. We are extremely pleased to be in this very beautiful city of Kigali. I think this should be my probably number 8 time being in Kigali. I've been coming here since the year 2017. And I have been coming here for reasons of serving lawyers. All the times that I've come here has been in the service of the profession. So I'm extremely honored to once again be back in Kigali and to always receive the same very warm hospitality that this city has. It has, I think, in my opinion, gotten more beautiful. Just looking at the streets, is available within the region. Kigali is potentially the best place to be. So we are honored, we are happy. This is our first time to come with this training in Kigali. We've done it in Kampala. Actually, we started it in Kampala this year in March. We did it in April in Nairobi. We are doing it here in Kigali in June. We are going to go to Juba in July. And in August, we're going to do it in Dar es Salaam. We are planning to have it in Bujumbura also, so that we cover the entire region, potentially within the course of the year. The reason we are doing this training across the region is because it has emerged as a very important area of practice. In fact, if you look at your notes, you'll realize that 90%, I'm referring to this document, 90% of the criminal cases that go to court have an element of
representatives from the Justice and the Office of the Attorney General, representatives from the judiciary, representatives of other government agencies, representatives of the East Africa Law Society, leading law firms. Ladies and gentlemen, I am pleased on behalf of the President and Governing Council of the East Africa Law Society to welcome you to this inaugural masterclass on digital forensics, electronic evidence handling and presentation for lawyers. This Kigali edition builds on similar trainings conducted in Uganda and Kenya this year. The training, which complements our virtual capacity building calendar, is part of the wider ELS Institute agenda of growing the professional capacity of ELS members for global competitiveness. It is my hope that you have interacted and benefited from our numerous free virtual training activities and our paid for more specialized trainings which focus on emerging and high value practice areas. Ladies and gentlemen, the world as we know it today has gone digital. Technology and the internet have made it possible for the virtual in the world of or risk peril. Apologize. Good governance in Rwanda and the region. It is over the next 2 days are going to play a key role in assessing the impact of digital for good governance in our country. This masterclass is going to equip you with knowledge and skills on, among others, the procedural requirements of conducting digital forensic analysis, securing relevant digital evidence, properly handling the evidence and presenting it in a legally admissible way that meets the threshold of our courts. We are also going to analyze all post-incident response measures. As a legal practitioner, I have come to understand that confidence in the collection, review, and analysis of evidence by law enforcement and the ability of courts to fairly judge the strength of that evidence is the bedrock of our justice system. This is a belief shared with Mr. Bill Rawlings, CEO of Civil Liberties Australia, who rightly asserts that when the wrong person is sent to prison, not only are they and their families sent, but society is at risk from the real perpetrator being left free to strike again. It is thus paramount that legal practitioners take keen interest in the handling of evidence in the justice system. It is against the backdrop of the context laid down above that I find today's discussion timely and pertinent as it falls within the core ELS mandate of promoting legal profession practice standards in the East Africa community. As part of this mandate, and on our promise to members, ELS will continue to promote practice standards in the East Africa community by delivering more specialized courses. Look out for our upcoming training on FIDIC contracts to be hosted in this very beautiful city in August. our training in public-private partnerships in September in Kampala, the ELS In-House Council Convention in Mombasa, Kenya in July, and of course, our numerous free virtual courses. Follow our social media handles for regular updates on these and more activities. As I conclude, I urge you all to use the knowledge that you will acquire in the next 2 days to promote the rule of law, good governance, and democracy in the region. Before I leave this stand, I want to express our appreciation to the leadership of the Rwanda Bar Association, who we worked with in making this training possible. I also appreciate the East Africa Law Society Institute for generously funding this training. On a personal note, I would like to thank the CEO of the East Africa Law Society, with whom the President and I have had several conversations to be able to bring pertinent trainings to this country, to our lawyers, for them to benefit. The last time the Kigali hosted the East Africa Law Society conference, I think was in 2019. I think the next one is going to be 2026. So I believe we always host the best conferences, and we look forward to that. This year, we're going to be in Kampala in November, and I urge all of you to come. And the knowledge that you'll get from here, please do share with others. And I'm excited that one of the participants is from the forensics laboratory. So at least you'll have interactions between the lawyers and the specialized people that actually collect the evidence and put it in a way that will be understandable in courts of law and useful. On this note, I wish you all a successful event. Thank you very much and have a good training. I forgot to do a very important role of inviting our beloved president of the Rwanda Bar Association to give his remarks. Thank you.
Secretary General of the East African Law Society, CEO ELS, David Sigano, dear participants, good morning. It gives me a great pleasure to join you this morning as we start this very important training, the masterclass on digital forensic and electronic evidence handling and presentation of lawyers. The use of technology in our daily lives is becoming something that we cannot do away with. And that's the reason why when the East African Law Society approached me and told me that they want to conduct this training, I told them we cannot accommodate all the lawyers in this room, but let's have a live stream that is going to allow even the ones that are not in the room to follow. So this training is not only attended by the ones that are in the room, but also the ones that are following us online. What does this mean? What it means is technology allows us to go beyond where we are, and it allows us to transact and do things in a different manner than the way we used to do it. So that being said, that comes with a lot of advantages, but also quite a good number of challenges. And one of them being cyber crimes, and also any kind of transaction that happens online that needs to be recorded or even be used as evidence. Obviously, the way we used to have contracts in the past 10 years, it's no longer the same. Today, each and everything that we are doing is contained on our cell phones, it's on a laptop, it's on any other kind of device. It's therefore important that lawyers get familiar with that kind of life and even get to know how to handle evidence that comes from those transactions that happens each and every time when it's needed. So this training was organized by the East African Law Society, of course, in collaboration with Rwanda Bar Association as one of the organizational members of the East African Law Society. And it's intended to equip lawyers across the region, as earlier said, with necessary skills that will help them handle and get to know even how to present electronic and digital evidence. At this point in time, I would say ELS is adding value to the knowledge of lawyers across the region. And I really invite each and every one of you to make sure that you follow their online engagements, because one of the resolutions that we passed at the East African Law Society Governing Council is to make sure that ELS is not only remaining a club of lawyers that are considered elites that can attend the one and only annual conference that happens in November. It's therefore in that line of ideas that they've been sending a lot of engagement online, the trainings that we can follow online. And I really encourage all the lawyers and participants and the ones that are following online past building program that is very important for all of us. In Rwanda, we have an organization, a government agency called the Rwanda Forensic Institute, which deals with this kind of evidence and the way that they are supposed to be handled from the beginning up to the end, up to the presentation in court. I am happy to announce to everyone that is attending this training that we now have an MOU with Rwanda Forensic Institute. And I was very happy to see that there are even some people from the Rwanda Forensic Institute that are in the room whom can actually even share the experience in handling this kind of forensic and electronic evidence. It's therefore my pleasure to again thank the East African Law Society and its leadership for having organized this very training that we think and believe is very important in our daily practice. And I want to wish you all to make use of this opportunity. The trainer is here. He has a lot of experience, and you can exchange the experience of how the handling of this kind of evidence is happening. We have a situation where in court today, someone comes and brings a voice note, and they are like, this is, I don't know, this is Aimé speaking. How do we know? It's the very same person that is speaking. We have a situation today of photoshopping, putting a picture together like someone and bringing it and transporting it and making it like as if someone is sitting here in the same room where we are sitting. It's very easy. And these kind of evidence are presented in court. How are they going to be handled? Are they acceptable? Is the court necessarily going to accept this kind of evidence? How is this supposed to be handled? We have nowadays electronic signatures. People can access your signature and then sign a contract on your behalf and in your name. What happens in such circumstances? It brings a lot of obligations on you and everything. I mean, how are we going to verify that this is not you that have signed on this contract? So all these are the kind of issues that can emerge out of the transaction that happens online, which we lawyers needs to be prepared of and then be alerted and be sure that we can handle this evidence properly and also get to know how to challenge some and also how it's supposed to be presented even in courts of law. And then the issue of admissibility also becomes something that needs to be assessed and determined by the courts of law. I know that the current law on evidence in Rwanda is being revised. I've seen Mutagoma here. I really want you to help the participants in like giving them information on the developments that is in the draft law that is being revised, aiming at also including a bigger part that is going to be concerning this kind of electronic evidence. So without further ado, I wish you to have a fruitful kind of training. And I believe the ones that are in the room, we have an opportunity to interact and increase their knowledge in as far as this kind of electronic evidence handling is concerned. And in the future, we have started doing these kind of trainings with the Rwanda Forensic Institute earlier this year. But I believe it's not each and every lawyer that was trained. And in the future, we're going to be organizing the same kind of training to equip lawyers with the necessary knowledge so that they can handle and present their case and electronic evidence in a successful manner. Thank you very much. I wish you a good day.
A bigger clap for Batonier. Batonier has given us very important points. And one of them, which I want to appreciate you for, is the credits that everyone in this training will get professional credits for having come here. Batonier and Rwanda, thank you so much. We have one full credit for you for these 2 days. So we really appreciate the bar leadership for giving us that. As I ask you, Batonier and Madam SG, to exit the stage, albeit temporarily, I am honored to welcome our trainer and expert facilitator, Mr. Lawrence Dinga. Allow me to introduce him a bit. Gabriel is requesting that before our leadership, should they have other activities? I know you do have other engagements outside. Before you leave, we take a small group photo. So we can do that. Gabriel, maybe you'll guide us on when to do that. But I would like to call on stage our expert trainer, Mr. Lawrence Dinga. Allow me to introduce him very, very briefly. Lawrence is a seasoned consultant with a wealth of experience and expertise in cybersecurity, digital forensics, cybercrime investigations, and cyber capacity building. He holds a Master of Science degree in forensic computing and security from the University of Derby in England. He also holds an LLM in ICT law from Open University in Tanzania and a diploma in law from the Kenya School of Law, as well as okay, Gabriel says we can do it now. So let me finish introducing our expert trainer. We take a photo and then we start our training officially. He's also a certified information systems security professional. Lawrence is a digital forensic expert witness and has testified in many cyber-related cases. Currently, Lawrence is an international consultant for the following organizations: the Cyber Program Office, CIPROC, at the Council of Europe, on law enforcement and judicial training in cybercrime and electronic evidence. He's also a consultant at the European Union Agency for Law Enforcement Training, CEPOL, on cybercrime training. And he trains on attacks against information systems and law enforcement technologies, forensic and other specific areas. He's also on the panel of the Council of Europe on capacity building of legal professionals and on conducting research, assessment, and drafting analytical studies and reports for projects supporting effective implementation of, among others, the Turkish Constitutional Court judgments. He is an adjunct lecturer on cybersecurity at the Kenya School of Law. He's a professional development expert and is part of the projects and research, CPD division. He's also on the role of the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, UNODC. And here he undertakes capacity building on digital evidence handling for frontline investigators, prosecutors, and judiciary. He has undertaken additional trainings in Southeast Asia, in states like Thailand, Vietnam, Malaysia, Laos and PDR. He is part of the United Nations
national workshop on online investigative techniques and handling of electronic evidence to counter the use of internet for terrorist purposes. This is in Rwanda, for criminal justice systems in Rwanda. This is good. Among many others, he has undertaken a lot of works. I think you can read his full bio on page 1 in this document. He has undertaken, and we have selected him for this training because of this massive experience. He has been across the world. I think when he starts training, he will share with us part of this, undertaking this kind of training. And so he's the best resource for us in this training. I'm happy to know that the Rwanda Forensics Lab, I hope I'm getting that right, is here. We will be happy to learn from you because you do practical work in this area. I'm also happy to learn that the Evidence Act is being reviewed. But thank you for that. I hope you're including it in it a few common law aspects. You know, how we handle evidence on the other side in Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania. We rely a lot on what has happened before. I don't know how it happens in the civil law system, but I'm hoping as you develop a new evidence law, you are having this hybrid kind of system where you borrow the best practices from common law and include them in the Rwandan system, which I believe has already been adopted. That said, thank you. Let's take a very quick photo. We have about a minute for that, and then we start our training officially. Thank you very much, and feel welcomed. If you have questions, if you need assistance or help, Gabriel and Brenna are at the back. Anything you need, including a health-related issue, we will be able to sort you out. Anytime you need help, just reach to the back and we'll help you. Thank you very much, and welcome to the training.
A big round of applause for the CEO, a big round of applause for the battalion and our Secretary General. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to invite you to the back. We are taking photos at the stairs here. Let's make our way. Like you've importantly heard, if you can see the banner to your left, that's the banner of the In-House Council Forum, the host for our In-House Council Convention. If you have any questions, do reach out to me or Brenna. We are here to guide you. Please, let's move to the back. Our expert photographer is here. He's waiting for you anxiously. So let's make our way to the back here and take this very it's very important photo. Yes, at the back. Thank you. Mm-hmm. Mm. Yeah. Yeah. Can you help me? Okay. Thank you. To the back. Thank you. Okay. Wow, this is loud. So, okay. Can we say forensics? Oh, fees, yes, fees. That's the lawyer's language. All right, thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. We can now take our seats and start off this session. Our facilitator, Mr. Dinga, has been introduced, and I'm handing over to him. Mr. Dinga, you can take us and then take us through the tea break as well.
What time? Good morning. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, I think I've been introduced. I don't need to introduce myself more. Whatever is there, I wanted just to emphasize that this is not my first time to be in Rwanda. I've been in Rwanda in 2023, 2022. I was here. I was training the Rwanda Investigation Bureau. I've been here a couple of times just on the training. That is on the national workshop on online investigative techniques and handling electronic evidence to counter the use of the internet for terrorist purposes. You know, terrorists are becoming much more clever than even the law enforcement. So they're moving even from the surface web into the dark web. Yeah? I just wanted to highlight some of the projects that I've done. Like in AG Africa partnership, I was this was in 2019. In 2019 and 2020, we were doing capacity building for investigators, judges, and prosecutors on cybercrime and electronic evidence. I've also done a project in Council of Europe, that is the Republic of Armenia. And here we was doing capacity building for the Armenian law enforcement and prosecutors on templates for data preservation and subscriber information, including drafting of effective production orders in obtaining stored data in accordance with the Budapest Convention. We are going to see the Budapest Convention, what it is. How many people have heard about Budapest Convention? Okay, we are going to look at that. I've also done projects with the Kenya Magistrate and Judges Association that was training on digital forensic for legal professionals. This is just to give them requisite knowledge to prosecute and adjudicate cases involving cybercrime. Yeah, I've done this. We've done this with East African Law Society. The first one was in Uganda. The second one was in Kenya, and this is the third one. I've also done some projects with the CEPOL. CEPOL is the European Union capacity building for law enforcement. And last year we were doing some training in Lebanon, Beirut, Lebanon, for police, for the Lebanon police, state security, and military intelligence. Of course, we've also done some capacity building for the Republic of Moldova, law enforcement, and national SAT. National SAT, as you know, is each end of the country has got a focal point of dealing with cybersecurity incidents. So there must be a cooperation between the law enforcement and the national SAT, because you see, national SAT does not have the authority to do the investigation. So they need to cooperate with the law enforcement to see that if there's any investigation to be done, then they cooperate and ensure that this is done properly. Right now, as I'm talking to you, I'm helping the government of South Sudan in establishment of National Computer Incident Response Team. So July, if you come to July in Juba, chairman or the CEO, you'll actually be able to find me in Juba. I'm currently stationed in Juba. So that's my qualification. I have my MSc in cybersecurity and digital forensics from the University of Derby, diploma in in law from the Kenya School of Law. This is not a TP. This is a paralegal. So why I did this is just because I wanted to maybe speak the same language with my learned friends so that I can be able to understand when you talk. So I'm not a lawyer. Don't expect to ask me anything in law. I'm just able to understand what you're saying, so that when I go there as an expert witness, they will be able to understand each other. Of course, I'm doing LLM in ICT law from the Open University of Tanzania. Is a continuing thing. And basically, I'm just certified information security professional. So I'm a cybersecurity professional. Yeah. So this is my certificate in cybersecurity. And this another certificate which shows that I'm an instructor in cybersecurity issues. And these are just some of the works I've done. This was in Cambodia last year. This was training the law enforcement on the frontline investigators on cybercrime and electronic evidence. This was also in Vietnam. These are prosecutors and investigators. No, these are prosecutors and judges from the Republic of Vietnam. This is Malaysia. No, this is Bangkok, Thailand, and these are prosecutors and judges. And this is in Malaysia. These are also prosecutors, judges, and investigators. And this is, I think this was in Laos. And these are investigators. So that is my profile as at now. So if you look at this, you look at the agenda, there's an agenda number. I'm going to make some little adjustments because of the audience that we have here. I want to give you content that is going to help you in your day-to-day running of your work. So if you look at agenda number, session number 4, readiness and preparation, and session number 5, practical on preserving facts. We are not going to do this because those are more for the investigators, not for lawyers like you. I want you to get content that is flowing and is going to give you the knowledge that you need in your work. So we are going to start by session 1, with session 1, that's cybercrime and related offenses. If you are looking for evidence, digital evidence, it must come from an investigation. And this investigation means that a cybercrime has been committed and somebody does investigation and then you collect the evidence. Now, each and every organization, country has enacted a at least cybercrime law. And even Rwanda has cybercrime law. And this cybercrime law is actually modeled on the Budapest Convention. We are going to look at that. So we are going to just look at when we talk about cybercrime, what is cybercrime and what are the related offenses, and compare the law that Rwanda has with the Budapest Convention. So once you know that, yes, this is what comprises cybercrime, and you need to do investigation, then you need to collect evidence. So what is electronic evidence? That will be session number 2, introduction to digital evidence. Now, when I talk about digital or electronic evidence, it means the same thing. In some jurisdictions, you find that they prefer calling it electronic evidence, while in some jurisdiction, they prefer calling it digital evidence. So when I talk about digital or electronic evidence, I still means the same thing. There's no difference. Then once you collect what digital or electronic evidence is, you need to know what process to collect that evidence. And that is the session 3, dealing with the introduction to digital forensics. That is the science behind collection of digital evidence, because you remember what the secretary says here, that when you collect evidence and take that evidence into the court of law, it must meet the legal threshold. So we can say that digital forensics is actually the intersection of law and science, because you must use some scientific principles to collect that evidence. And that evidence, when you take it to the court of law, it must meet the legal threshold so that it can be admissible. Otherwise, that evidence will not be admissible. And I don't think as a lawyer or as an investigator, you'll be happy when your evidence is thrown out of the window. So we are going to look at that. Then, once we've exhausted the digital forensics world, we are going to look, how do you identify evidence? Let's say you go to the field and now you want to collect that evidence. How do you identify that evidence? Once you have identified that evidence, then you must come up with a collection strategy. How do I collect this evidence in a way that is going to meet the legal threshold? Okay. After that, you need to do a report. And this report is what you're going to present in court as an expert witness. So doing the report, after doing the report, you go to court. So we are going to look at tomorrow, we are going to look at forensic analysis and reporting, and then how to present that in the court. That is the court hearing. So that is what comprises our agenda these 2 days. And I hope that we are going to learn from each other. I don't like it that I just talk. We come to a discussion. You know a lot of things that we can share with all the participants here. So it is important that we have a dialogue. We discuss on issues that might arise out of this knowledge sharing. So let me stop that. Okay. Our first session is going to be on cybercrime and computer-related offenses, because you need to know what cybercrime is, and you need to know what offenses are there according to the Rwandan law. What offenses are punishable, and how do you classify these computer-related offenses? So we are going to look at to identify different types of cybercrime and their impact, then list the threats, trends, and tools of cybercrime and responses to the phenomenon, and then explain the concept of cybercrime that are considered types of crime under most legislation and international standards. So that is the learning objective. If I may ask from a volunteer, what do you understand by the word cybercrime? A volunteer? Cybercrime. Because we understand that committing cybercrime is what leads to investigation. And after that investigation, what are you looking for? You are looking for an electronic evidence that you are going to present in the court of law. And presenting this in the court of law, it must meet the legal threshold. So what do you understand by the word cybercrime?
Thank you. In my understanding, cybercrimes are
Yes.
So a cybercrime is a criminal act committed by through the use of computer.
Okay. Well, let me ask you a question. Use of a computer and the internet. Now, if you talk use of computer, if I pick this laptop and smash it on your head and you die, is that a cybercrime?
No.
Yeah. You got it, but yeah, little bit. With another attempt? Okay.
Cybercrime. Some only the criminals generally ego acts involving computer system applications in other technological manners.
All right. Okay. Let's see. Or I'm leaving somebody out who wants to try? Yes.
That is committed mainly online or on various networks. So basically, I will break it down like that. Thank you.
Okay. Am I leaving anybody out? From a lady? I have to be sensitive. Yeah.
By the, I think IT, all IT, technology. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Basically, when we talk about cybercrime, there's no universally accepted definition of cybercrime. But you'll find that when we describe cybercrime, it is an act that violates law, which is perpetrated using ICT to either target networks, systems, data, websites, or technology, or facilitate any crime. So what is the difference between the cybercrime and traditional crime? The only difference is that the cybercrime does not respect any boundary, and it can be executed with ease, with less effort and with greater ease and greater speed than traditional crime. No geographical boundary. So there are certain questions that come into, we need to answer certain questions when we talk about cybercrime. Why is cybercrime there? Because internet is globally available to everybody. Everybody is using the internet. And since everybody is using the internet and cybercrime respects no boundary, which means that investigating cybercrime must involve a global approach. You cannot be able to address cybercrime as a country. You need to cooperate with other countries in order to address the phenomenon of cybercrime. The international dimension is essential for proper understanding of the whole reality of computer criminality because of the internet. And cybercrime is the most transnational of all crimes. So, which means that for you to investigate cybercrime, you'll find that you need to cooperate with other countries. Why? Because there are difficult questions that we need to answer. First, the location of crime. Which is the, where is the crime committed? Which is the applicable substantive law? Which is the competent jurisdiction which is going to look, look into this crime? First, if I'm a Kenyan and I'm a hacker and I hack a computer belonging to a business in Uganda. Yeah, remember I'm a Kenyan, a business belongs to Uganda. I've hacked that computer. I've defaced their website. Now that website is not residing in Uganda. That website is actually residing in the Netherlands. So which is the competent jurisdiction among these three to prosecute me? Any volunteer? I'm a Kenyan. I've defaced a website belonging to a Ugandan business, but that website is not residing in Uganda. It's residing in the Netherlands. So between Kenya, Uganda, and Netherlands, who has got the competent jurisdiction?
Hopefully it's Uganda. My side.
Why? Just give the reason why it's Uganda.
Because this crime has been happening in Uganda, and then the suspect from Kenya, then the source or the source of the user, maybe since you hacked in the Netherlands. So my side, it has to be having use of the laws from Uganda. This is the one.
Yeah, but the website itself is in the Netherlands. So which means that when you hacked a computer in the Netherlands.
If this is the case,
yes,
from Netherlands, who does host the website, because how to back to the Netherlands.
So that just tells you the difficult question in investigating cybercrime, the issue of jurisdiction. So jurisdiction is a limitation to cybercrime, and that is why when we are talking about addressing cybercrime, cannot be done by one country alone. There are some legal international instruments that you need to subscribe to help you. Now, in this case, we have a problem. Can Kenya prosecute me? Only if Kenya there has got an MLA with Uganda into that effect. Can Netherlands prosecute me? Only if they have MLA with Kenya. So there are certain international legal instrument that we can actually subscribe to. And that is where the Budapest Convention comes. If you subscribe to the Budapest Convention, if you accede to the convention, then it makes it easy to investigate cybercrime because Netherlands will be a member, Rwanda will be a member, or Uganda will be a member. If there's any cooperation, then we'll get it from this from the Budapest, being that you joined Budapest. Now, the other issue, yes.
I'm asking myself about the location because the one who's committing the crime is based in Kenya.
Yes.
And the computers hacked is in Uganda.
Yeah, the business is in Uganda.
Yes, the business is in Uganda.
But the website is hosted in Netherlands.
Netherlands.
So which means that when you hack that website, you have actually accessed the server in the Netherlands.
The concern I have is about the location.
Yes.
Of the crime.
Yes.
Is where the person who committed the crime is, or is the place where the website is?
That's the
because the act done is based in Kenya.
Yes. The suspect is in Kenya.
Yes, the suspect is in Kenya.
Yes.
And those acts are they done in Kenya. So why the location?
They are done from Kenya.
From Kenya.
Yes, yes.
Yes. Where the location of the crime?
Maybe not even done from Kenya. Just that because that is a Kenyan. Maybe it's a Kenyan.
Suppose that is the one who committed the crime is in Kenya.
Yes.
As the example that you are giving us. So I'm asking myself about the location.
The location of the crime.
Yes.
So that is the difficult question that we are talking about. Where is the location of the crime? Is it in Uganda because the business belongs to Uganda? Or is it in the Netherlands because the server is in the Netherlands? So those are the difficult questions that cybercrime is posing, because the does not respect the geographic boundary. Are we together?
Yes, still asking you.
Yeah.
You made
let's all go on. The problem is that the jurisdiction is a limitation to the investigation, because we don't competently know jurisdiction is going to take over this case unless there's some kind of mutual legal agreement between these countries. If there is none, there is no way Kenya will extradite me to Uganda or to Rwanda if we don't have any working relationship about that. There's no way Kenya is going to extradite me to the Netherlands, because sometimes you find that what the act that I've done, Kenya does not have maybe the cybercrime law. So to Kenya, that is not a crime. You get the point? Yeah. So the other thing here is the cloud. Where is your data stored? That's another problem. Where is the data stored? Right now, you wake up today, all of you have got Gmail. You wake up today and you find that your Gmail is not there. Whom do you accuse of, or whom do you take responsibility? So you find that cloud adds another challenge in the investigation of cybercrime. Before the cloud, you go to a place to do investigation or to collect evidence, and you find that the evidence is actually on the computer that you are going to find in that crime scene or in the server for that organization. But nowadays, you go to an organization and you find that the computer is there, but the evidence you are looking for is not in that computer. And they tell you that, oh, my friend, we don't host our data here. Our data is hosted in the US. How do you now get the production order to bring that data? It becomes difficult. I have a case which is now going for almost 2 years. And this case was just some sort of somebody using cyber harassment. Okay. So I needed these emails from the Gmail, from Google, the evidence. But then I have to go to the police to report that to the DCI. After reporting that, I'm assigned an investigating officer, and then we need to do the production order. We take the production order to court, and then we serve the production order to Gmail. Now 2 years, nothing has happened. So you can see why those international legal instruments are important. Yes.
Talking about international cooperation, I want to know about the relationship that we can draw with regard to the Budapest Convention you are talking about, and the no more use of international cooperation through Interpol. Does Interpol play a role the same as we could have using the Budapest Convention?
You know, Interpol is a law enforcement agency, and as much as they can help internationally, not all countries have joined Interpol. And anything that Interpol will investigate is something which will be coming from the member state. Okay? And the process is not normally very, very easy as such, but they do help Interpol. We have presence of Interpol in almost many countries in Africa, but the most appropriate or the most appropriate way to be helped when we are investigating cybercrime is using the Budapest Convention. However, it is also, you need to accede to that treaty for you to be considered or for any other thing on investigation. Because now, if you are a member of Budapest Convention, then something happens, then your investigators have got easy access to that particular country who is also a member. But we are going to see that. Now, when we talk about cybercrime, there are two general types of cybercrime. One is what we call cyber-dependent crimes. Now, cyber-dependent crimes are new type of crimes. These are crimes that can only be committed using computers, which means that if you take computers away from us and you take the internet away, we do not have cyber-dependent crimes. These crimes were not there when the computers were not there. These are new types of crime. And this sometimes they are called the crimes against the confidentiality, integrity, and availability of computer systems and data. So this is what we call new types of crime. Now, they are sometimes known as crimes against the machine, which means that they are just targeting computers and networks. So this is what we call cyber-dependent crimes. Without computers, they are not there. So something like illegal access. And if you look at your law today, there is the article talking about illegal access to the computer system, which is criminalized. Okay? So there's also illegal interception here where you intercept data and maybe changing the data. There is data interference, system interference, and misuse of devices. Now, without computers, cyber-dependent crimes are not there completely. We are done with them. Then we have what we call the cyber-enabled crime. Now, cyber-enabled crime are traditional crimes. They can be executed without computers, but the only thing computers add is their global reach. So these crimes have been existing ever since. But because of the computer, they now have another dimension. The volume or the global reach is enabled by the computer. So these are cyber-enabled crimes. Something like forgery, fraud on forgery. Without computer, people still commit fraud. But now, with computers, we have now computer-related fraud and forgery. And that is a crime even in your law. We have something like identity offenses, identity theft. Can do it without computers. But computer will now make this crime to be globally available to these criminal gangs. So let's look at substantive criminal provision on cybercrime. And this is where we do the comparison with the Budapest Convention. So Budapest Convention, you'll find that is criminalizing conducts like illegal access, illegal interception, interference, system interference, fraud and forgery. So you find that Budapest Convention, Budapest law is a model law. And from that law, most of this cybercrime law have been modeled from that Budapest Convention. So if we are going to compare the Budapest Convention vis-a-vis your cybercrime law, and you'll find that it is the same, whatever is in Budapest Convention is what has been modeled into your current law. So there is law number 60/2018 or 22nd August 2018 on prevention and punishment of cybercrime. Okay. So Article 1, this law aims at preventing and punishing cybercrime. And what is the scope? It is this law applies to all cybercrime which are committed in Rwanda or outside Rwanda if the offenses have produced effect in Rwanda. If it is committed outside Rwanda, but it has got effect in Rwanda. So you remember what we are talking about, the example of army in Kenya, the business in Rwanda, the website itself is in the Netherlands. But because it is affecting Rwanda, it means that Rwanda has got the jurisdiction to ask for my extradition here for me to face the law. But that one always will depend on if we have any MLA between Kenya and Rwanda. If there is no MLA, then there's no way you are going to Kenya is going to extradite me to face to prosecute me in Rwanda. So that is why Budapest Convention is necessary. So let's look at the offenses against the confidentiality, integrity, and availability of computer data and systems. That is cybercrime against the machine or cyber-dependent crimes. Yes. Yeah, yeah. The countries that have assented to that, I don't know the number right now, but the number is quite substantial. Yeah, maybe if we will get the statistics. So these are new type of crimes. Hacking. Was there hacking when computers were not there? Well, if the computer is not there, can you hack? What can you hack? So that's a new type of crime. If computer is not there, hacking is not there. Sometimes we talk about intercepting the data. Intercepting the data is whereby, let's say, for example, I'm doing a business between A and C are doing business. And then what happens is that there's somebody called B who inserts himself between A and C. So A sends data to C, information to C, it is intercepted by B. B modifies that information and sends it to C. So as far as A and C are concerned, they know they are communicating without knowing that there's somebody, a man in the middle, who is intercepting data. So A sends invoice to C. B will intercept that invoice, will change the bank account and send that invoice to C. When C makes payment, it makes payment to the account of B. So A will be waiting for the payment and will not be able to get the payment. And these are crimes that are very common right now nowadays. You go to airport. Even right now we are here. We are having a problem. I know. Do you know what problem we have? We are connecting to the Wi-Fi. And that Wi-Fi is not protected. So which means that a hacker can easily insert himself and put another Wi-Fi with the same name. Yeah? And gives it a very high signal. When you come back here from break, you'll connect to Serena and you'll pick the one for the hacker. The guy will look at everything in your laptop. We hope that is not happening. Okay? So these are crimes that are against the machine. So in this example, they will interfere with your data and sometimes deny you access, what we call the denial of service. I don't know whether you had it in Kenya when the eCitizen was down for I think 3 days. It was denial of access, denial of service. Denial of service just means that the service is not available to the rightful people at the same time and at the time they need it. So something like M-Pesa, how many people depend on that service? Now, if somebody hacks the website for the server for the M-Pesa, how many people will be affected? So denial of service just happens that the server, which is actually giving this service, is overwhelmed by requests from a group of people or a group of what we should call a computer controlled by a group of people. So they overwhelm the server with a lot of requests to the extent that the server does not know what to do and starts dropping the services. So when you get into your bank, you cannot access it. Yes. Mm-hmm. Which one? Yes. Yes. Yeah.
What is about the school?
Mm.
They are saying that it's lower price. This lower price, most cyber crimes which are under.
Mm-hmm.
Here I want to be on cover and here which are on the face of the crime.
Mm-hmm.
Where the crime is committed. Because they are saying about cyber crimes which are committed in Rwanda or outside Rwanda, if such offenses have produced an effect in Rwanda. The same question as I asked before.
Mm.
In this law, if the computer harmed or the computer attacked is here in Rwanda,
yes,
and the one committing this attack is still in Kenya.
Mm.
Here, will we say that the crime taking place in Rwanda or in Kenya?
No,
the computer attack is there, here in Rwanda.
So the location of attack is in Rwanda. the location of the crime is in Rwanda, all right? But the person who has committed the crime is outside Rwanda. Right?
When they ask the place of the crime,
Yeah?
the place of the crime.
The place of crime is in Rwanda.
Okay, good.
Yes.
Thank you.
But the person who has committed the crime is outside Rwanda. That's why he's saying, even though that person is outside Rwanda, and he is still liable to this law because he has affected whatever is happening, the infrastructure in Rwanda. Yes. Yeah. Now, that is what now the problem, where the problem is. If I'm in Kenya, I've hacked your computer in Rwanda, the law says that I'm liable, I can be prosecuted. But now, when it comes to extradition, we need to have an extradition treaty with Kenya. Minus that, there is no way Kenya is going to extradite me here to face prosecution. But if Kenya is a member of the Budapest Convention and Rwanda is a member of Budapest Convention, it is easy for the investigators of Rwanda to come, or for Kenya to easily extradite me to Rwanda. So that is why it is encouraged that we should really accent to the convention. So cyber criminals may produce, possess, or distribute computer misuse tools, including technological devices, malware, password, access code, and other data that enables individual to gain a legal access. This is what we now say. You don't need to be a computer guru to commit cybercrime. There is what we call cybercrime as a service. You just go and buy the tools that you need and you commit the cybercrime. And that is what people are doing now. You don't need to be a programmer. Why should you program once somebody has done it for you? Just go and buy the tools and use that. That's cybercrime as a service. But things are also changing. And this is especially what we call, I don't know whether it is terrorism or whatever, attacks against infrastructure. And it is very clear even in your law. Attacks against infrastructure and attack by the cyber terrorists. So what is in critical infrastructure? These are assets and systems that are essential for maintaining vital social functions, including health, safety, security, economy, and well-being of the society. Okay? So the disruption of in critical infrastructure will have debilitating impact on the national security and economic welfare of the nation. And that is why each law, even your law here, has got talks about how do you protect critical infrastructure, because this is now where cyber criminals have moved to. For example, power distribution. You know, critical infrastructure, as much as they are critical, before computers, we still had power distribution. Okay, but the power distribution was being run by proprietary software. It was like what we call security by obscurity. You hope that somebody does not know what you are doing, so that you cannot be attacked. And secondly, the software, the code, the software was proprietary. Okay, but with the internet coming into place, computers coming into place, this critical infrastructure are now being managed by ICT systems. Okay. Now, this ICT system is the same ICT that you use in the corporate ICT. And they are prone to cybercrime. So as a critical infrastructure being controlled by ICT, now we have what we call critical information infrastructure. And this is what now hackers are trying to target. For example, if you look at power, power is now controlled by what we call SCADA system. Now, SCADA is what makes the power to distribute countrywide. Now, should this system be attacked, then the whole country can go into darkness. And it has happened in Ukraine in 2018. Hackers hacked the power system, and it was in December. The whole country went cold. I mean, there was no, with that cold, and there's no power. Okay? Now, this is what we sometimes we call state-sponsored attacks. And it happened in Iran in 2012, when Bush was still in power. What happened is that Iran was building a nuclear enrichment, uranium enrichment plant somewhere in the desert in Iran. And before that, in 2007, Syria, by using the help of North Korea, were building a nuclear plant somewhere in Al-Kaba, in the center of the desert. They thought that nobody is going to get this information. The Israeli, the Mossad got it, and to cut other stories short, the plant was bombed by Israeli. So in 2009, I think 2009 there, when Israeli discovered that Iran was had a plant which is manufacturing uranium, and they knew that this uranium is for nuclear, making for nuclear. So what happened is that the Israeli government and the US government, and this is now what we call the state-sponsored attacks. The Israeli government and the US government crafted or developed a virus. And this virus was supposed to only infect one computer. And this one computer was controlling the centrifuge in the plant in Iran. So this virus does not get into your computer. It does that thing. It's looking for a particular computer which is controlling the centrifuge. Those centrifuges are meant to run at a certain speed. Okay? So this Stuxnet virus, what it does, it gets into the network. And this, remember this, these are very fortified facility. It is not connected to the internet. These industrial control systems are never connected to the internet. So what happened is that these people spread the virus in somewhere in Iran, okay? Knowing very well that the engineers working at the plant, this thing is going to affect them. And they are going to go to the plant to update the software at the plant. That software was called, I think, PS2, something like that. And it was, it is the software that is controlling the speed of the centrifuge. So when this guy is, one of the engineers I think it was spread by USB. One of the engineers hooked to that computer. The Stuxnet virus got into that computer. Then it started releasing havoc. It was making the centrifuge run at 10 times the speed of their normal speed, so that they just break. So you'll find that most of the centrifuges in this plant were broken just by software. And this is where software is causing physical damage. And this is the first cyber war talking about. The US, they first denied it. The Israeli, they denied it, but it became clear that Stuxnet was actually an act of sabotage. I don't know whether to call it an act of terrorism or something like that, but that is now why the next fight, the next war is not on the physical. The next war is on the cyberspace. That's where people are talking about. From there, the virus was out there. And they know that anybody can pick that code and reverse engineer that code and infect the US, because they are the most vulnerable people. So what did they say? They come up. I don't know whether you've heard what we call the NIST framework, the National Information Technology something. The US has become very, very protective because of the critical infrastructure. So cyber criminals, in short, are moving from just affecting these computers, moving for big fish. Okay. And that's why you see, even this is PRC state-sponsored actors, People Republic of China. They are very good in this. They always bombard US to bring the infrastructure down. Okay. So Budapest Convention has got this model, these articles. Article 2, illegal access, illegal interception. Article 4, illegal data interference, system interference and misuse. Let's just see this. Now, the law, the Rwandan law, same thing, just modeled on Budapest Convention. Article 17, access to data with intent to commit offense. I don't know, how many people have seen the law? Yeah, I think if you're not seen law, as a lawyer, please, if you want to go to court on electronic evidence, ensure that you read this law. Okay. Article 18, unauthorized modification of computer or computer system data. Remember, these are crime against the machine itself. Crimes against confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Okay? These three things are very important. In cybersecurity, we call them CIA triad. The confidentiality of data, which means that the data or information should only be accessed to the people who are supposed to access it. And they should be accessed on a need-to-know basis. Okay? And what we call least privilege. You only give somebody access for him to do his work. That's confidentiality. Confidentiality in terms of personal information or personal data is what we call personally identifiable information, PII. Okay? There is still confidentiality. Integrity means that when you are making decision on that data, it has to be good. It has not been changed. The data, you can confirm where the data came from, and that data has not been changed since it was known to be good. if you are making a decision today, you are doing a contract, okay? When you are doing a contract, you've written a contract, you give me, I sign, you sign. At that time we are signing, we know that the information is known to be good at that particular time. So you go with your contract, I go with the contract. We come and you find that now, when at the time of execution, something has changed. If I said you owe me 100,000, and then when it comes to execution, now your contract rates that I owe you 50,000. So there's no integrity there. How do you maintain the integrity? And integrity is very important when you go to court presenting digital evidence. How can court satisfy that? How can you satisfy the court that the integrity of that data is intact? So that is why the integrity, confidentiality, integrity, and availability of data is very important in the court of law. So Article 20, damaging or deny access to a computer or computer system. We cannot go through this, all of this. I just wanted to show the comparison between your law and the Budapest Convention. Now, why is Budapest Convention, we call it a model law? Why do we call it a model law? Because you can see that each, when we talk about Article 2, illegal access, you see, each party shall adopt such legislative and other measures as may be necessary to establish as criminal offenses under domestic law. Which means that you're taking this Article 2 and you domesticate it. And that is exactly when you look at law, your law, that's how it has been, or that is what has happened. So it says that under domestic law, when committed intentionally, the access to the whole or any part of a computer system without a right. A party may require that the offense be committed by infringing security measures with the intent of obtaining computer data and dishonest intent, or in relation to a computer system that is connected to another computer system. So if you look at you go back to your Article 17, read that Article 17 and see what are the conditions that makes this a criminal act in the law on prevention and punishment of cybercrime. You look at this, and then you'll see what are some of the punishments that is levied against this. So, Article 16, unauthorized access to a computer system or a computer system data. Yeah, this is Article 16. Any person who intentionally and unlawfully gets access to computer system or computer system, and she or he does not have a consent from any person, is not entitled to control and access to the computer system, or accesses another person's computer without authorization in order to know or recorded or transmitted data, by all means. Going on, just go to that article. So you can see they have taken the Article 2 of the of Budapest Convention and domesticated it. And that is how many countries that have come with the cyber law or cybercrime law has done. This is exactly what they've done. Go to Kenya, you'll see the similarity. Go to Uganda, you'll see the similarity, Computer and Misuse Act. Rwanda, the same. So Budapest Convention, model law. Article 3, illegal interception, the same thing. Each party shall adopt such legislative and other measures as may be necessary to establish as criminal offenses under its domestic law and committed intentionally the interception without a right made by technical means of or none? Still not sure. Let me just see. Okay. So that is also translated. If you look at the law, the Article 19, interception of computer system. So I'll just ask you to just go through the law for you to understand it well and compare it with the Budapest Convention. I see it's 11. I think if we can go for tea break, and then we come after how long? 30 minutes? Okay. Then we can continue. I think we started late, so we can break now. And then after 30 minutes, we continue. Right? Is it so?
So for our online audience, thank you for joining us. Our online audience, we have an audience for those who are in the room and you do not know. We have an audience streaming live on our platform. So I'd like to take the opportunity to welcome you. Thank you. I hope you've enjoyed this training session so far. And we are breaking off for tea for 30 minutes. I know you didn't take a group photo in the morning. So at an appropriate time, I'll be back for the online audience to ask you to put your cameras on and we'll take a screenshot, yeah? And we'll celebrate the day. So that said, we have what? We have now, I've eaten into your break time, 2 minutes, yeah? So we have 28 minutes to move out there and have our tea. Or would you rather have a working tea? Hello? Yeah? Okay, yeah. So you can move out and have some tea. If you feel you need to stretch, we have the cocktail tables at the back. Please feel free to move to the back and stretch. For our online audience, please take this time to grab a glass of water or a cup of coffee wherever you're joining us from, and we'll see you in 28 minutes. Thank you. Yeah, sawa. Yeah. Yeah. Sawa. I'll let you know. All right, cool. Let me get this in, then settle. Good people, let's get into the hall. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Let's get into the hall, please. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed your tea break. Let's give it, I seek your indulgence for a minute while we wait for the rest to come and settle in. And then Mwalimu Dinga will take it up from here. All right. While we wait for the rest to settle in, allow me to recognize our online audience. Online audience, how are you doing? Let me probably request Anita Kenyangi from Uganda. Anita, if you can hear me, you can unmute and say hi. Yes, hello, Anita. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, good morning. How is Kampala? If you don't mind, you can turn your video on so that the members in the hall can see you. Yeah, thank you for joining the session virtually. And I hope you're enjoying it so far. Yeah, if you have any questions that you have, you can always drop it on the Q&A. I would also like to recognize our other online participants, Arnold, Kathy, Cecile, Danielle, Douglas, Duncan, Shirima. Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Tell us where you're joining us from, your location. Ask a question if you're online, just to, if you have any question you have for the trainer, we want to make it as interactive as possible, even for you who is online. So we request you to follow through, drop questions. We'll be sharing the presentations with you. And yeah, so let's go on to the next segment of the training. And let me now hand over to Mwalimu Dinga to take us through till we break off for lunch. Mwalimu, you know it's coming to lunch. So I wouldn't want us to stand between lunch. All right, so thank you. And okay, Mwalimu, when you're ready.
Okay, welcome back. Are we all here? Okay. So we are still looking at cyber crimes against the machine. That is these are crimes against confidentiality, integrity, and availability of data and systems. And Article 4 of the Budapest Convention talks about data interference. And the same time, we have an article also in the Rwandan law addressing that. So we are not going to look at into that. Then there's data interference, system interference. That is, as I said, you can see that these are model law. Each party shall adopt such legislative and other measures as may be necessary to establish as criminal offense under its domestic law. So what happens is that you just take this article and you domesticate this article in your cyber crime law. There's also the misuse of device. And in the misuse of device says each party shall adopt and other measures as may be necessary to establish as criminal offenses under its domestic law when committed intentionally and without right. The production, sale, procurement for use, import, distribution, or otherwise making available of a device, including computer program designed and adapted to primarily for the purpose of committing any of the offense, and that is in accordance with the Articles 2 to 5. So that was, sorry for that title, we're going to change it. That was offenses against confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Now let's look at the offenses, computer-related offenses. That is cybercrime using the machine, or cybercrime cyber-enabled crime, which means that you are using the computer to commit the crime. So this is what we call cyber crimes using the machine, or cyber-dependent crime. We remember, no, cyber-enabled crime. Remember what we said about cyber-enabled crime is that they can be committed without computer. The only advantage the computer gives them is the global reach. So something like fraud without computer still can commit fraud. But with computer now, computer related fraud, you can now you do it as a global, in a global manner. So it is just computers aiding their global reach. So if you look at the Budapest Convention, Article 7, computer-related forgery, computer-related fraud, and the law on prevention and punishment of cyber crimes, look at Article 32. Go through Article 32, and it's talking about computer or computer system-related forgery. Article 33 is also talking about changing computer or computer system equipment identity, and it's also talking about cyber stalking. So all these things, you can still do them without computer. But being that the computer is there, they make them have global dimension. So that is why they are being criminalized in this piece of legislation. That is Article 7, according to the Budapest Convention. Remember, what we are talking about is we are talking about cybercrime using the machine. Then we have Article 8, computer-related fraud, which is according to Budapest Convention. And we come to now the content-related offenses. What are content-related offenses? Which means that you are using computer to store criminal things of criminal nature. So that is why it's called computer-related, content-related offenses. Budapest Convention is talking about offenses related to child pornography, which means that you're using computer to store child pornography. It's an offense Article 9 of the Budapest Convention. Also, if you come to the law, the Rwandan law, or Article 34, it talks about publication of pornographic images through a computer or a computer system. So you can see these things are related. They just take the Budapest Convention article and then they domesticate it and it becomes law. And that's what has happened in Rwanda. So some of the, if you look at Article 9, offenses related to child pornography, we are talking about producing child pornography for the purpose of its distribution through a computer system. We are talking about offering or making available child pornography through a computer system, distributing or transmitting child pornography through a computer system, procuring child pornography through a computer system for oneself or for another, and possessing child pornography in a computer system or on a computer-related storage media. So that is an offense which is domesticated in your Rwandan law. We are also talking about Article 10. This is offenses related to infringement of or copyright and related rights, which is also we found within the law. I would encourage you to go and look at this law, so that as a lawyer, you need to know when you are drawing your defense or whatever, you know where exactly to look at. So procedural provision of the Budapest Convention, these are powers of the law enforcement, prosecution on and the courts to identify, investigate, and prosecute cybercrime. And if you look at the law itself, the Rwandan law, there's a section that's talking all about prosecution of cybercrime. So what I did not find is from that law is the admissibility from this law, but I found the admissibility on electronic. I think, is it electronic what? Related. So there's another act on an electronic transaction. I think I found admissibility in that, but here I didn't see any article talking about the admissibility. So procedural rules are applicable when the crime is under investigation is one of the one listed in the convention. The same thing applies to the Rwandan law. In the investigation of any crime, if it was committed by means of a computer system, and gathering evidence in any investigation, if the evidence in this case is kept in any kind of digital record. So that is where procedural rules will actually apply. So what are some of the evidence that you can pick from computer? Okay. So information included within the data types include what? Subscriber information. Now, subscriber information is data that includes the name. If, for example, and this is always, you get this from the service provider, and you must have a legal authority to get that. So you must have a search warrant from court to go to the service provider. And what the cyber, what are subscriber information that you'll get? The data that includes name, address, and contact details of a person subscribing to a telecommunication or internet service held by a service provider. So if there's certain evidence that you want from there, you need to go using a legal authority to go and get that. Traffic data is computerized data relating to a communication which shows the date, the origin, route, and destination of a communication held by a service provider. And we are going to see that when you are doing authentication of evidence, especially in email, this becomes a very important evidence because you need to go to or you need to pick an email and analyze the traffic data. Where did the email originate, the date, the route that email took and to the destination of that particular communication. This must be accompany the evidence that you are going to present in the court of law. Then we have content data, which shows the substance of a communication or illicit content attached to a communication can be held on devices and by a service provider. Now, this is the actual evidence that you are looking for. Divided packages by special program algorithm on dedicated server installed on different territories and moved in accordance with the program or system. Now, cloud data, this is where the challenge is also, but you need to liaise with the service provider for you to get this data. When we are talking about investigation or procedural rules, we are talking about the Article 9, which is talking about search and seizure. Now, search and seizure is where now you go to that place where that evidence is, and using legal means, you seize the device. Once you seize the device, then you start investigation on that device and get the evidence out of that. So search and seizure is something that the law, the current law is an article in the current law, which says that without prejudice to other laws, and the organ in charge of prosecution may, in case there exist reasonable grounds to suspect or believe that a computer or a computer system may be used as approved as an offense, or is acquired by a person as a result of an offense, issue an order authorizing to enter any premise and search or seize a computer or a computer system. You go, but with authority, with the legal authority to search, to seize and search those computers. And that legal authority must actually enumerate which machines you are going to pick. Okay, so you have to be very careful if you want to escape this, because most of this search warrant, if you are smart enough, you draft it and take it to court for them to sign, so that you include as many devices as possible, so that you are not limited. The reason is that if, for example, you say that I'm going to collect 2 mobile phones, 2 computers, and then you collect 3 computers, and you find evidence in the 3rd computer, which was not in the search warrant, then know that that evidence is not going to be admissible because it is not covered by the search warrant. So you have to ensure that during your search and seizure, draft it in such a way that you can be able to collect as many devices as possible, so that you can go and investigate them. So search and seizure is something that is allowed allowed in the law. Let's look at trends encouraging cybercrime. Why is cybercrime so much is a global phenomenon? First of all, is what we call the underreporting of cybercrime. Now, So many people do not support cybercrime, especially when the cybercrime is associated with something like romance. Nigerians are very good at that, and they're hitting ladies right, left, and center, and they don't report because they fear the shame which is associated with it. You talk to somebody on the other side, only to find that there's a lady who was dating somebody on the internet, and then she came to realize that the person who has been chatting all that time is a 12-year-old. So you can see such kind of thing, and I think you've seen this kind of documentaries where Nigerians have just set up an entity just to scam women. So this is one thing that is making cybercrime not to be reported, underreporting. Now the other thing is reputational risk. Banks mostly are being hit. The other time Equity was hit 290 million Kenya shillings. It was just known by luck, but they never report it because of reputation. You fear that next time the account holder is going to withdraw his money because they look at it as you do not put enough security in place to guard their assets. Now, low confidence or expectation that law enforcement can assist them. I don't know whether in Rwanda, but I know even in Kenya, cybercrime department is in the DCI. That's where Cyber Lab is. You go outside Nairobi, this police station, they don't even understand what you are talking about. They don't even understand what cybercrime is about. So that is also another thing that is making cybercrime to encouraging cybercrime. Something like anonymity and identity. Cyber criminals, they don't use their real identity. They use what we call proxy. Proxy just masks your IP address and gives you a new IP address. So people like us who also do investigation, I cannot even log on to with my real name. The account that I'm doing the investigation is a fake account. In fact, it has got a picture of a lady. Yeah? And I know why I'm using the picture of a lady. Because I'll follow up the suspect and get the suspect so easily. Remember what happened in the Russian-Ukraine war. There's a time from social media, the Russians, the Ukrainians lured Russian soldiers to their death using social media and using pictures of a lady. So you can guess why I use lady as my face. Yeah. There's something what we call Tor. Tor is just a browser, a special kind of browser that you can use to browse the internet without being known. Okay, it masks your identity. But Tor is used for criminal purpose, not really criminal, but criminals have found a lot of benefits in using Tor. Tor just means the onion router. And this onion router is used to access the dark web. How many have heard about dark web? Dark web? Yes, one person. Anybody has heard about dark web? Yes. Can you tell us what the dark web is? Yeah.
think the dark web is it's a place somewhat like the internet, like Google, but then this is where like criminals do their interactions. They trade online without being realized, without being known who they are in a short context. That's what I think it is.
The internet that you access, the internet is divided into, can say, 4 parts. The surface internet, or sometimes we call it clear internet. This is the internet that you access. And you're accessing the information in that part of the internet because that information has been indexed by the search engines. And what you are accessing is only 4% of the internet. Okay? So whatever you're accessing is 4% of the entire internet. Just like if you can see, it is demonstrated using an iceberg. Okay? The surface is just a small portion of it, but the bigger portion is in the sea. So the bigger portion of the 96% of the internet, there's what we call the deep web. The deep web is information that is proprietary to many organizations, and you can only access it using their own access code, because that information in there has been indexed by their proprietary engines. So they can only give you access to that content. So you can find that many institutions, like maybe the military, the academic institution, big academic institution, they have got their content in the deep web. And that content can only be accessed by them because they are giving you, they have indexed that information using their proprietary engine. So they'll give you a username and a password. Now, within the deep web, there is a section of the deep web that is called the dark web. Now, the dark web, the information in the dark web has been hidden intentionally. And the only way you can access, you must install a special browser called the Tor. Okay? And whatever is in the dark web is anonymous, which means that even if you are followed, somebody cannot put a face to that content. And that is where illicit trade is being conducted using cryptocurrency, like the Bitcoin. So you use Bitcoin to do transaction. That's where you can go and buy stolen credit cards. That's where you can go and hire a hitman. That's where you can go and do all sorts of illicit using a Tor. So use Tor to access that. And we are going to just give you a demo of what you get in the dark web. Whatever very nasty things. As a trade is based on trust. Okay? So that is what the dark web is. Okay? Where I'm placed in the deep web where illicit trade is being done using cryptocurrency. But nowadays, with the exchanges coming into being, don't think that it will take long before you are caught. But you will always be caught at the exchange where you go and change crypto. Then they can be able to map that address to a face. But it is very difficult as now because you are trading as anonymous. Yeah? Tor was not created just because for criminal purpose. It was created for countries that are very repressive where you cannot express yourself using using the normal internet because you'll be followed by the government. Somewhere like the North Korea. So the people use Tor to communicate that, and it was intended for good purposes, but the criminals have also found that it's a lucrative area that you can use to. I can use that to sell my drugs from the internet. We talked about jurisdiction as a limitation to investigation. This is a problem. And cybercrime being the most transnational nature of cybercrime. So these are some of the things that are making cybercrime thrive. Investigative expertise. Cybercrime must be properly and methodically investigated in a manner that it will stand the test of the courts. So there's lack of capacity to investigate this. Because whatever you are bringing to court, ensure that it is going to meet the threshold of the court. It's going to be legally admissible. As to this, the first session is open for questions as we sort out the power issue here. Yeah, now it's coming. As we sort out question time. Yes.
Thank you. My name is Deogratias Nhezijayo. So we've been discussing what cybercrime is, and I was willing to ask if you can share with us your views on, these days there are some software that are created and are sold by their owners, but other people out there can create some other ways to access those softwares. I can mention, for instance, we'll be using Microsoft, for example. Then it is bought. You needed to pay the subscription fees, but then the third party comes up with codes that you can use, then access the software or leave around the codes. They may even come up with another software that we can install in our computers. Then you can access that product which is actually sold, but now you are accessing it freely, just through the codes you applied or the software you installed. In criminal justice, is that going to be criminalized, or like how could you interpret it in terms of these cyber crimes that we are discussing? Thank you.
Yeah. Now, that's a tough question. And I wish anybody has a different view. Because, yeah, those codes and those software are there that you can use to access, what do you call it? What do you call it?
Bypass. Like you can bypass.
You bypass. So it is some sort of, you are infringing the, whatever, what do you call it? Property? Yeah. Copyright property, copyright of a software. I don't know how. It is an offense. It is a criminal. Okay. And it is, if you look at the law, I think it is covered somewhere. Using any code or any code to access a computer system. But now you see what's happening is here is that who is going to bring it to court? Let's say Microsoft. If Microsoft finds you, they can prosecute you because there's a law here right now. They can prosecute it in Rwanda. They don't need to extradite you to the US because the law here covers it. Because there's a section which says, an article which says that if somebody shares codes or software to access a computer illegally, then, which means that you are accessing their systems illegally without paying their copyright fees. So it is an offense. It is prosecutable by law in Rwanda right now, but now it depends on who will apprehend you. Microsoft. If they get you, well and good, they'll prosecute you. Yeah? That's okay? Yes.
Thank you very much. My name is Council Jordan. My question is almost related to his question. We have countries that are prohibiting or banishing access to certain networks. For instance, in China, you find Google is not used, YouTube is not used, and some countries, maybe the US is moving forward to ban maybe TikTok. But you can use VPN to access those networks. How do we, are those who have access while you're using VPN, do we consider them as criminals in the cybersecurity? Is it a cyber crime by accessing using VPN when the country has banished or prohibited access to those networks in that particular country? That is one. Second, there is a discussion we had before when we were talking about jurisdiction issues and investigations. I think when we look at, maybe you mentioned about the Budapest Convention, I think the best way to curb or to curb cyber crimes is to go for how we can have a universal investigation or collaboration, like we have some other crimes, maybe crimes against humanity and those kind of crimes, because it's very hard for one country, especially when the country that is, when a person, for instance, if you're Rwandan and you commit a crime maybe against an Ethiopian or maybe another countries through cyber crime, they cannot extradite you because a Rwandan cannot be extradited to a foreign country for prosecution. But if we have that universal jurisdiction, then Rwanda will be able to prosecute you as a national who have committed the crime on a foreign country, on a foreign soil or foreign territory in terms of cyber territory. So those are the things I think we should apply to make sure that we fight against these kind of crimes.
And that is what Budapest is trying to do, that universal kind of instrument. That is exactly what the aim of Budapest. Because as you say, if you have to go and prosecute me in another country, then you must have an extradition treaty within the two countries. Or if it is for investigation purposes, we need to liaise for investigation, then we need to have the MLA in place. So without that, it becomes difficult. And that is why this universal kind of instrument is what the Budapest is trying to do. Now, when it comes to accessing this software, let's say Google using a VPN, I don't think in China is, I don't know the law, but what I know that they've banned them, but are even banning them because technology is not limited. And for you to police all these things becomes difficult. I don't know I don't know about the law, but what I know, you can still bypass and access them using the VPN, because VPN is just allowing you to access another software somewhere, but your identity is hidden. But I don't know what the law says in China. When they get you, I don't know what to do. That part I don't know. But still, it is possible to access using VPN or, for instance, Tor to access those services.
If I mention, the reason why countries ban certain softwares or networks is because they feel like they're against maybe the initial, maybe the policies of the state, or maybe against the law, whatever they want. So when we looked at illegal access, so we assume when something is banned from the country, that is termed as illegal. So even like in cyberspace, we are talking about accessibility. So if we have the accessibility in a territory or a jurisdiction where that particular software is not allowed to be used, because VPNs are used in terms of, like you said, bypassing, but now you are having an access to something you are not allowed to access in a certain territory. I don't know whether it is.
Yeah, but you see, it depends. It depends. Is the access authorized or the access is illegal? If the access is illegal, then that is a crime in most jurisdictions. Because even in Rwanda, it says that illegal access is accessing without authority. You are not supposed to access it, but you are accessing in ill intention. And that is why it's illegal. But if you are accessing something that you are allowed to access, then it is not illegal. So illegality comes because you do not have the authority to, you've not been given authority to access it. That's where the illegality comes, yes.
I think the aspect that is missing on the question of my colleague is about something to be illegal. We are lawyers and we know we should have an instrument that makes it illegal. It means a law. Yeah, putting a policy and saying in China you will not use TikTok, it's one thing, it's a line. But to know what will be done to someone who will do that within China, we have to get a law which prescribes and puts on articles, and this will be the fine, this will be the punishment and whatever. So having a policy, a political line or something is not enough. You should have that law for that thing to be illegal. Thank you.
Yeah, I think you're right, because even in Rwanda, without this law, it could just be policies. And you can't prosecute somebody because of violating the policy. You prosecute somebody if he violates the law. So the law must be there for something to become illegal. Yeah. Any? Yeah.
Hello, everyone. My name is Daira Arnold. I had a question. So today, regarding cryptocurrency. So today we have countries trying to regulate cryptocurrency. Like in Rwanda, the BNR is looking into central bank digital currency. Now, apart from countries trying to regulate cryptocurrency, what other measures are being done to fight against the financing of criminal acts through cryptocurrency?
You see, you talked about central bank digital currency, and you are talking about cryptocurrency. They are two different things. Yeah, but cryptocurrency, some countries have actually legalized it, especially in countries in Southeast Asia. They've legalized cryptocurrency, and use of cryptocurrency is thriving. When we talk about financing, that's a different thing. Financing of terrorism, whatever, and you can do it either using the fiat currency or the cryptocurrency. But the fact is that counterterrorism or the terrorism or financing of terrorism is illegal in most countries. So it does not matter whether you are financing uses crypto, and most of them are using crypto now because they are doing all their businesses in the dark web. So it is not a matter of the currency, that either crypto or fiat currency. What matters is that activity illegal in that country, and how can you fight it? And this is why we come up with the AML, what is the anti-terrorism and financing. Yeah. So it's not a matter to do with the currency itself. It's a matter of being illegal in that country or not. Yeah.
Thank you. Mine is the follow-up to his. If you could show the difference between the cryptocurrency and the central digital currency, the central bank digital currency that you just said. I've struggled to understand the difference. Thank you.
You see something like M-Pesa. Yeah. Many countries like Kenya, if you look at the what strategy from the central bank, they're talking about being not a cashless society, but encouraging more of the electronic transfer than the physical. So eventually the central bank wants to minimize as much as possible the use of physical money, hard cash, and go into the digital money. And that is the strategy of central bank digital. So that 1 shilling is equal to 1 shilling in the hard cash. Okay. So, but you see, most of it you see, that's why in Kenya we have a lot of electronic payments. Okay. So that you minimize the use of hard currency, hard cash into digital. That is what central banks are trying to implement with the digital central bank digital currency in most cases. Cryptocurrency is a different animal altogether. If you look at the history of cryptocurrency, it is some sort of mathematical or cryptography. Cryptography is what is bringing the issue of cryptocurrency, whereby in cryptocurrency you are trying to avoid the use of central entity to control the currency, but it is sort of a peer-to-peer kind of exchange, and it is cryptocurrency is created by these mega computers solving a mathematical problem and earning that particular currency, okay, using blockchain. Okay, so it's just a totally different phenomenon apart from the normal digital currency. In cryptocurrency, there's the issue of crypto. It is encrypted, and that is why it becomes very, very very hard to hack into it. Okay, so and I think it is estimated that how many cryptocurrencies can be generated? Is it 21 million? Who knows? Huh? No, I don't. It's not 67. I think 20 something million. That's the maximum bitcoins you can actually create in the whole world. Okay, so that's the difference.
join Zoom. Oh, Zoom went because of the power. Mhm. Right. Mhm. Which one? This one? Okay. We are going to move to the next presentation. If there's any question. Digital evidence. We've known what cybercrime is and what pieces of legislation that we have and the model law. So you do the investigation, and what do you want from the investigation is the digital or electronic evidence. So we are just going to look at what is electronic or digital evidence. Now, in this session, we are going to look at the definition of digital evidence or electronic evidence. Then we are going to discuss the issues of admissibility of evidence in judicial proceedings in terms of its authenticity, reliability, relevance, credibility, and integrity. Explain the principle of best practices relating to the seizure and handling of digital evidence, and identify the challenges offered by dead box, live data, and internet sources of evidence. Then identify the challenges of obtaining evidence from another jurisdiction. So, throw the questions to you again. When we talk about electronic evidence, what do you understand by electronic evidence? Because evidence is evidence. So, what is electronic evidence or digital evidence? Volunteer?
So I think digital evidence is any information stored in a binary form that can be relied on in courts.
Anybody with different opinion?
addition?
Not different, but when you say it comes like electronic evidence, you have evidence and electronic. It means it could be a kind of the probative information that can be stored through electronic device or transmitted by using the electronic devices. Thank you.
I think you've just got it. We don't need any more explanation. But yeah, any information generated, stored, or transmitted in digital form that may later be needed to prove or disprove a fact disputed in a legal proceedings. So, as you are going to see, if it is just something that is going to be used in court, call it digital evidence. So it comes from digital devices such as computers and their peripheral apparatus, computer networks, mobile telephones, digital cameras, and other storage devices, as well as from the internet. I don't think there are any case that you can take to court which is not involving computers nowadays, or mobile phone, mostly the mobile phone. So what do you need from that mobile phone? What you need there is the digital evidence. Okay? So the digital evidence can be maybe graphic file. You have a photo that you want to use as the evidence in court of law, or the audio, or the video files, email, server logs, word processing, spreadsheets. All this can be evidence that you want to rely on in the court of law. So, what is the role of digital evidence in a case? When you take a digital evidence to court, what is the role in that case that you are presenting? It is to establish a credible link between the attacker, the victim, and the crime scene. Now, there's what we call the Locard principles, or Locard exchange principle. In the physical world, in forensic science, we talk about Locard exchange principle. And what does it say? It says that anyone or anything entering a crime scene takes something with it from a crime scene and leaves something of themselves when at the crime scene when they leave. If I'm going to murder somebody, okay, and I go to his or her house. When I open the door, already I've left my fingerprint if I don't have a glove. So I've left something of mine at the crime scene. Now, when I get into the house, and let's say I shoot this person, I'll have left the cases of bullets in there, okay? Sometimes I shoot this person and his or her blood sprinkles into my clothes. So at that time, I've picked something from the crime scene. Or the hair of that person might stick to my clothes. I've picked something from the that's crime scene. So that is the LOCAD principles in the normal forensic investigation. I leave something at the crime scene and I pick something from the crime scene, and that becomes an evidence in the court of law. So the same thing happens when you are accessing computers. Whatever you do in the computer leaves a trace. And this trace is the evidence that you can actually use in the court of law. So for example, if you are sending an email, you have email headers. Email header is what information about that email that you've sent. If you are using the normal snail mail, when I write the mail, I put it in envelope, then I have to put a stamp on it. Okay? When that stamp, that mail goes to the post office, they are going to stamp it with the name of that post office to see, to know where did that email originate. The same thing to email. When you are creating email and sending email, you're using the services of a certain computer, which will stamp that email with its own signature. And that email is sent across the network until it reaches your computer and you can be able to read it. So it is always said that internet does not lie. So what you've done is that you've just created a series of evidence within the internet. And this is the same thing as LOCAD exchange principle. Whatever you do in the computer leaves a trace. There's a time I was doing some investigation for another university in Kenya. The vice chancellor was being cyber harassed. I don't call it cyber harassed, but they were writing so much articles about this person using a website. It's a blogger, and the blogger was actually a university student who was being incited by by some people because they didn't want this. They didn't want this vice chancellor. Okay? They wanted him to go out, and then they wanted their own person from, because I don't know whether it happens in Rwanda, but in Kenya, this university belongs to this province, so they want somebody from that province to head the university. So they didn't want this guy. Okay? So they started writing a lot of things about him. So when I went in to investigate, the moment they realized that I was doing investigation, they pulled down the website. So they think that by pulling down the website, I not have evidence. But I had evidence because I could go back to the time when that website was created, and I got everything, okay, which can be presented in the court of law. So the internet does not lie.